Hey. Welcome back to another update from rSpace. Today's video is an update from a previous video we made a couple of days ago. If you haven't already seen the main story, it'll be linked below in the description. Check it out, then come back and see us. Update 2. I found lingerie in my wife's suitcase. When we picked her up at the airport, my son ran to her and gave her hugs. I leaned in for a family hug as she was holding my son. I gave her a kiss. She whispered in my ear how sorry she was. I just nodded and said we will talk tonight. I drove us home. We went in, and as my son had drawn welcome home pictures. My son and I left shortly after to my parents. I left my wife home to unpack and to mentally prepare for our talk. When I got home, she was sitting on the couch waiting. I asked that she move to our dining table. I wanted to put something physical between us. I had printed out the call logs of her phone. I started out on how gutted I am feeling and that I accept that our marriage was done. She started crying. I waited until she stopped. I did not want crying to deflect my questions and would wait every time she cried. I asked that she be completely honest. I mentioned that if I felt her answers were evasive, I would demand her to take a lie detector. She agreed to be forthcoming as she wanted our marriage. I had her tell me the story again. Then I asked questions. I challenged her on timelines. I asked questions in different orders of her timeline, then would circle back to the same question, sometimes asking the same question multiple times during the evening if something was added or left out. She would get emotional with me because she said I wasn't believing her. My wife does not lie, even white lies. I have known her most of our lives. If a question presents itself where a lie could be inserted, she will either avoid the question or she will pause and think carefully before she answers. Knowing this, I repeated the questions knowing her tell. I told her how I found this lingerie. It is a black lacy corset, I guess is the best description. She bought it once she knew she was traveling again. She bought it at a store in the mall. She had made the trip to buy some business attire as she had put on a few pounds during COVID and her nice clothes were snug. I knew of her buying the clothes and had seen them, minus the corset. I cannot get over why she felt she needed it. I find my wife beautiful and am sure many others would feel she is very good looking. She thought that is what she needed to look sexy. I asked how she came up with that idea. She picked it up after watching a movie on TV. Now our TV viewing is very minimal, consisting mostly of entertainment such as Hallmark Channel and other family programming. Knowing how sexualized our society is, I can understand if she happened to see some movie with a scene showing a character wearing something like this. There are days where I get wiped out physically and sleep incredibly long hours, leaving her to kill time by herself. I asked her over and over again why she would hang up the phone before talking to me. She said that she came to the room to slip in her corset. She called my son. While talking to him, she found the notes and the condoms. She felt trapped as she was found out by me. She did not have an explanation, so she hung up to think about how she would explain this. I had her explain over and over her encounter with the guy that bought her the drink. She admitted she was so close to going to his room. She deflected by showing her wedding band. His response of not telling if she didn't was exactly why she was there. She almost slid off her chair to go at that point, but something just held her back. I asked what that something was, but she would only say her conscience. But yet, she still tried. Our talk went several hours into the early morning Saturday. During the day, I would think of more questions and we would start again. Her phone did not show any messaging apps, deleted messages, photos, or anything incriminating. The phone logs did not show any numbers called frequently that were not family. The numbers she could not remember who they belonged to, I dialed from her phone, but businesses and such that were explainable. I still do not understand how she felt she could expect to separate the intimate from the physical in having sex with a random stranger. I questioned her over and over on this. Our sex would be considered lovemaking. We are very intimate with each other. I know for certain I never have looked at our sex as just physical. She admitted that she at times just imagined herself with another man, never seeing his face, while we were having sex. As I mentioned in past posts, the wife and I each come from religious families. Once we married and moved to the city from our families, we moved away from our religious backgrounds. We still attend church regularly and feel part of the church community. We no longer attend Bible studies and midweek services. I cannot say the last time we read the Bible together. We went to church on Sunday. After services, we hung back in the church to talk to our pastor. I asked him if he was available to counsel us on a marital issue. He is off on Monday, today, but we have an appointment to see him on Tuesday. I am waiting for him to send me the time. He also mentioned there is a marriage encounter program that area churches hold in conjunction for the parishioners in September. It's a weekend away where there are guest speakers and workshops with the intent in straightening marriages and working on issues. I expect to ask him to recommend a marriage counselor. I thank you for your comments and tips. I am going against most of the comments by staying, at least for now. We will see what happens in counseling. Alright, let's get some reactions. From Taicho Jassard first. My biggest concern is when she decided not to go to the guy's room, she decided to try again on the next trip. You and she have very different views of sex. I cannot imagine how she convinced herself that she would risk her entire marriage to see if cheating on you would affect her. She has clearly shown you that her wants, they are not needs, clearly outweigh her commitment to you and your son. Her behavior and thought process is selfish and lacks maturity. Does she see her selfishness? How do you trust her on her next business trip? Hang in there, and my thoughts are with you. Our next comment comes from Just a Guy, 1961. Sorry, but how many lies has she told you already about this affair, including lies of admission? Example, I almost went to his room but stopped myself. Let's say that is true. What could also be true is he ended up following her to her room, even with her protests, and she caved and let him in. Sadly, like her hanging up on you to come up with a response. She fits the trickle truth conundrum of, if she tells the truth, you'll divorce her, so she will have to take it to a grave. This may force you to lie in order to maybe find the truth. If you go this route, it looks something like, there's no way you didn't have physical intimacy, be it kissing, oral, or intercourse. I accept that, and I am willing to move past that, but only if you tell me 100% full truth, even if that is intercourse many times. Otherwise, if I find out later the real truth, then I will be forced to divorce you. Good luck on whatever you decide. Juba55 thinks, religion has its place, but I think a professional counselor is required here. Your wife may need to do individual counseling so she can understand what makes her think the way she does. The next comment comes from Excellent Tutor 411. It may be worthwhile to ask her for her phone for verification for a couple hours. Find a friend who has a program to recover deleted texts, images, and emails, hopefully back before the previous business trip. It can confirm her version and your sense about her never lying. However, the relationship highway is littered with dead bodies of cheated on spouses, claiming the same thing. Warning on your spouse never lying. Cheaters do this psychological thing where they separate the real world from the fantasy world, like most people. Like her imagining a third person making love to her, which can be normal, maybe even healthy, but acting on it is not. Like buying and taking the sexy underwear on her trip. If she did have an affair, they managed to contain it into the fantasy. She will use this defense mechanism to compartmentalize the guilt, even from herself. It actually works the best the more wrong they see the action, as it belongs in the fantasy world, not the real world. This gives cheaters the ability to act completely normal, even when directly challenged, and if you break through the subconscious defense, it tends to only come out as trickle truth, very slowly, in small, manageable, rationalizable parts. And on to the next story. My wife cheated and took my kid across country. We moved from San Antonio. She accused me of receiving texts. She accused me of cheating, destroyed our apartment, and tore my marriage certificate in my face. After the hell and earth, she kicked me out. No, I was not cheating. The text she mentioned to me that she saw while I was asleep was gone. And no, I did not delete anything. I was asleep because I needed to work in the early morning. She wakes me up with the hardest slap she could and started yelling at me. Long story short, I forgive her for acting like that. I took the blame even though I had no idea what was happening. We decided that a new start would do us good and for our baby. We moved to North Carolina. Times pass, and things calmed down drastically. I felt like we had moved on, and that it did us good. She then told me 3 months ago that she needed to take our kid back to San Antonio for the rest of vaccinations. She told me here in North Carolina they didn't accept my baby boy's insurance. I knew she was using it just as an excuse to go see her parents. Later on, she told me she wanted to see them. I paid for her ticket way and back. She kept on telling me she was staying longer just because she wanted time for herself, she missed her friends, blah blah. I agreed originally it was going to be a 2-week trip, and it extended to a month and a half. I was super excited for them to come back. She arrived on Monday and went to say hi to me on my job. I felt her differently. She closed her lips when I leaned over and kissed her. Strange. Thursday comes and I ask her why she posted on her Facebook, basically telling, "You lost a queen, treat me better," or some crap like that. Confronted her, she exploded, overreacted, and talked to her mom to buy her tickets to leave Friday. She needed time to find herself and to heal, she said it. I told her, okay, it's fine, I support you, just don't take my son. She left Friday morning without telling me and took my kid. I just found out she's cheating on me with a 33-year-old bag of crap. She's 19. She won't let me see my kid, not even a photo, barely speaks to me, and blames it on me for leaving. She doesn't know that I know she's cheating. And she's saying she will come back, just not now. I'm desperate. I don't want to do anything stupid or confront her. Help me, please. And now for the reactions from the community. Wendigo54 starts us off. How long have you lived in North Carolina? Need to look at the laws. In North Carolina, there are abandonment and alien for affection laws. Use them to your advantage. Good luck. The OP responds, 4 months as such. We've been together for 2 years already. I forgot to mention, but after she attacked me, I filed a police report for domestic violence, but didn't proceed against her. She doesn't know this either. And I don't know what's going to happen because the affair happened outside of North Carolina. I don't know what to think. I'm here crying and broken for losing my family. While she already introduced the other guy to her family over there, I'm in complete darkness. Wendigo's comments continue on. Call the police that your wife took your son from the family home and will not let you see or talk to the child. Then get a lawyer. Time to get legal custody of your child. If you have a bank account or credit cards in both your names, close them and put them in yours only. OP's reply back. The first thing I did was to call the police. I explained the situation, but for much help, they can't do anything because she is the mother and has the right to take him anywhere. She doesn't need the father approval to do so. There's nothing I can do, and she threatens to call immigration on me if I start the case. I'm not from here, but my family needed me. I work and risk my life here for her and my son, and now she's trying to use that against me. Haunting Row 3961 says, please contact a good lawyer and a therapist. She seems too manipulative. She was having an affair and was deflecting it. You are the target of extreme gaslighting. You have every right to see your son. Write off the wife. She is not the person for you. You deserve so much better. I am so sorry you're having to go through so much trauma because she suddenly wants a new life, wants to make you the bad person so she does not get flack from her parents and family and friends. Please know that you are not in the wrong. She is flaky and is not a good mother to your child. The fleeing away, alienating your child, all this is so confusing to a child. Please stop being so nice. Be nice to people who are nice to you, but not those who cause trauma to your child. Be there for your child. Stand up for yourself and your child. And our last comment comes from Lone Wolf 369963. Contact a lawyer and see if there is a legal way for you to stop sending money to her, if you are. This may snap her out of whatever crap is going on in her head, and she may get civil with child custody. In any case, contact a lawyer and keep the copy of the report or reports of the complaint that you have filed. It may help in a custody battle. Good luck.